Hello everyone, welcome back to the course on Chemical Reaction Engineering 1. Myself, Nidhi Mehta, Assistant Professor at Chemical Engineering Department, LJ Institute of Engineering and Technology. So let's just start our today's session. In the last session, we have started with the topic non-ideal flow. We have seen what is non-ideal flow and why it is generated, what are various factors which are responsible for non-ideal flow, and we have also seen what is RTD, that is residence time distribution. In present lecture, we will start with how to determine RTD and what are factors we need to consider while determining RTD. So let's just get started. The first topic which is very important when you are dealing with RTD is tracer. So let's just first recall what do we mean by RTD. RTD is basically a characteristic of a reactor which is responsible for determining the performance of any reactor, right? So RTD determination is quite important in each and every type of reactor, and for determining RTD we need a substance which is known as tracer. So what is tracer? Tracer is basically a radioactive material or a chemical substance. It can either be a radioactive material or it can be a chemical depending on your choice and on the process which you are doing, correct? So tracer is basically either a chemical or a radioactive material which is used in process to determine RTD of any given reactor. Now I have listed that either it can be done using the radioactive material or by using any kind of chemicals, right? So tracer selection is quite essential, and selection of tracer depend on the type of reactor and type of reaction happening inside it. What type of reaction is occurring in your reactor or what are the properties of your reactor, depending upon that we will select a tracer, correct? Now let's just see what are various characteristics of a tracer. The first and foremost important characteristic of any tracer is it should be non-reactive. Why we are calling that tracer should be non-reactive? Just because if a tracer is reactive, then after determination of RTD, even if there is a small amount of tracer present inside the reactor, then it can hinder the further production scale, correct? So it can again affect the production of your actual product. So it is always advisable to select a tracer which is non-reactive. The second point or the second characteristic which we must understand while selecting a tracer is it should be completely soluble in the system fluid. That means the physical property of tracer should be almost similar to that of your system fluid. Why we are calling so? Because if it is similar, then and then only it can be able to give us the proper flow pattern and the proper residence time distribution, right? Suppose my fluid is more viscous, which I am going to use as my reactant, and my tracer is less viscous, then there will be a difference in time for passing through the reactor. So in that case, there will be a misleading results. That's why it is always recommended that you should use a tracer which is having a nearby property or exactly same type of property as your system fluid. The third important characteristic is easily detectable. Why we need tracer to be easily detectable? Just because we need to get tracer detected at outlet. We need to determine the concentration of tracer at the outlet stream. So if it is easily detectable, then it will be more easy to get the exact data of outlet tracer concentration. Next is similar physical properties to that of the system, right? So it should also have the similar properties as our system, and the most important property is it should not get absorbed on the walls of your reactor. This should be very much focused, just because if it gets stuck into the walls of reactor, then it can affect the actual conversion of reaction when we are carrying out the actual reaction in that particular reactor. So it is always advisable that you must use a tracer which is non-absorbent, right? It should not get absorbed on the wall surfaces. Now coming to the next topic, which is measurement of RTD. We have seen the parameter or requirement for RTD measurement. Now we will see how to measure RTD. So the first step is, what is RTD? So RTD is basically a residence time distribution. It is denoted as capital E and inside bracket T. That means E is notification or notation of residence time distribution, which is a function of time T, right? So RTD basically describes or basically predicts the amount of time molecule have spent inside any reactor. It depicts how much time molecules have spent inside your reactor, correct? So this is very important to understand that what is RTD before going into deep of it. The next is ET, that is residence time distribution. How we can determine residence time distribution? Residence time distribution can be calculated using this formula. E of t is equals to C of t upon integration 0 to infinite C of t into dt. So C of t, that is tracer concentration at the outlet stream or the exit stream, right? When you are putting T inside bracket, that means that how much amount of tracer which is leaving from the exit stream between time T and T plus delta T, means for the given time range, what is the amount of tracer which is coming out of the system. So that is C of T, right? Divided by sum of tracer concentration at exit for infinite time. So that divided by total amount of tracer which is coming out of the system. Once we do that, we will get exit age distribution, right, or RTD. Next is fraction of material which is leaving the reactor that has residence time between T1 and T2. How to determine the amount of tracer which is leaving between two time intervals T1 and T2. So it can be determined using a formula, integration T1 to T2 E T dt. That means what we are going to do here is, suppose we need to determine how much amount of tracer is coming out of reactor between the time 10 minutes and 15 minutes. So I will take all the concentration of tracer which are coming in the time range between 10 minutes and 15 minutes, and first I will find out E T using the second formula, that is Et equals to Ct upon integration 0 to infinite Ct dt. Once we have got the value of Et, we will simply integrate it between the given time interval and we will be getting the amount of tracer which is coming out for the given time range. Next is 0 to infinite et dt equals to 1. What do we mean by this? If I integrate the RTD between 0 to infinite, then it is going to be 1. RTD is what? Our residence time distribution. If I integrate the residence time distribution from 0 to 1, then it is going to be 1. It is 2. Why? Because before time 0, there is no concentration of tracer which is coming out of the system, because once you have not started your system, there will be no output. So before time equals to 0, there will be 0 amount of concentration which is coming out of the system. And for the time greater than 0 and between infinite, there will be the total amount of tracer which will be coming out of the system. So it will be 1. Next is fraction of fluid element in the exit stream with age less than T1. Suppose we need to determine what is the amount of tracer coming out of system before 5 minutes. So I just need to integrate 0 to 5 et dt. And this will be the curve between concentration of tracer in the y-axis and time in the x-axis. We just need to plot a graph between time and concentration, and that curve will give us a smooth curve pattern which is known as C curve. The curve which represents concentration of tracer and time is known as C curve. Now let's just see how to determine E curve from a C curve. So for determining E curve from a C curve, we are having 4 different steps, as you can see in this particular slide. Step number 1, we first need to plot a C curve. How we can plot a C curve? To plot a C curve, we need a data of time versus concentration of tracer coming out of our reactor or vessel, right? So we will note down the time and amount of tracer which is coming out of the system or reactor and plot a graph between C and T. So it will be our C curve, step number 1. In step number 2, we will find area under curve. So area under curve can be found either graphically or numerically, that totally depend on us. In step number 3, we need to determine the value of E at each concentration value. So how to determine value of E at each concentration values? We will use the formula E equals to C upon integration of Ct dt. Using that particular formula, we will get the value of E at each concentration values. Once we got the values of E, we can plot a curve between E and T. Right? E will be at y-axis and T, time will be at x-axis, and that is known as the curve of E, or it is also known as E curve. So we must understand the relationship between C curve and E curve and how to plot C curve and E curve, right? So this was all about RTD measurement, tracer and curves. This is all about today. Thank you.